Great. Would like to call to order the Pickering School Building Committee. Roll call, please.
Mayor Nicholson,
Present.
Brian Castellanos,
Present.
Deb Ruggiero,
Present.
Dr. Alvarez. Saw that she joined.
Present.
Flory Makua,
Present.
sorry. Diana Charkudis, Jessica Gerardo, Jim Ridley,
Present.
John Ford, Joe Smart,
Present.
Karen Miller, I think she said she would be absent. Kevin Ritterhouse,
Present.
Lauren Drago,
Present.
Lorraine Gately,
Present.
Michael Pertino, Michael Donovan,
Present.
Molly Cohen,
Present.
Peter Kolakitis,
Present.
Rich Marlin,
Present.
Rick Starbird,
Present.
Tom Mannion, I believe he said he would be absent as well. Mayor McGee,
Present.
Wayne Lozey. That's it. Okay, Jean, I'm gonna give you the hosting ability so you can bring up the presentation for us.
Okay. Should see. I'm still disabled for some reason.
I have you as host.
Well, let's see. Says host disabled. Participant screen sharing.
So Tim, you may have to do it since you joined under my account first.
Okay, it's saying it's running off of you, but let me check.
When I put my name up, it says reclaim host, so.
No, Tom McGee is the host.
Didn't that happen last time?
No, it's Jim Ridley, but yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know why it jumps like that. Sorry. Okay,
Oh,
there you go.
now Lynn is the host. Oh, now
Yes,
Jean's the-
I reclaimed it so I could give it to
Got
John.
it. Got it.
Right. We all set?
Yes,
All right, there you go. I assume you can see my screen?
yes.
All right. I will start from the beginning.
Okay, welcome, everybody. We're going to go through a few administrative actions. I know we approved the March 29th meeting minutes last week, but I was under the impression everyone got a copy of those meeting minutes. So you did get them in your packet for this week. So we'll retake that vote. Then we'll give you a quick budget update, and we will be asking you to vote to approve some CM at-risk selection subcommittee members. And then I'll turn it over to Jean. We have to submit a facilities assessment subcommittee for the MSBA presentation, which is kind of an overview of where we've been to date through the PSR. We figured we would present this to you just because it does provide a good overview of where we've been up until today. And we'll take a quick look at the table of contents of the PSR submission and see if anyone has any questions on what that submission entails. And then we'll ask for a vote if everyone's comfortable to submit the preferred schematic report to the MSBA. Then we'll quickly run through SBA meeting schedule and some of the milestones to get us through schematic design. Next. So first up is the vote to approve the March 29th, 2023 SBC meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Next is the approval of the April 10th SBC meeting minutes. And this was a quick meeting right after the public forum 2 weeks ago. So it's a very short meeting minutes here.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
So a quick status report of the budget. We have expended 48% of the feasibility study to date. We've committed 93% and we are approximately 56% complete. Next. This is just a quick indication of our cash flow throughout the process. Next. So what we have before you tonight is at the I believe the March 29th meeting, you voted to proceed with a CM at-risk construction delivery method. And typically when we do that, we select a subcommittee to go through the evaluation and the review and evaluation process. There's 2 phases, the request for qualifications, which is the first step in qualifying those that you want to move to the second step, which is the request for proposal stage. Both of those require a pre-qualification process. We will be getting, at the end, I'll let Tim go through what the schedule is like for this entire process. But we are looking for, typically it's good to have 5 members and 3 of those come from the SBC and 1 from the OPM as well as 1 from the designer. And again, like I said, we'd be asking them to review the qualifications that come in and evaluate them and decide which ones could move or qualified to move to the next phase, which is the request for proposals phases. And then once those proposals come in, we review those and then 1 or 2 days worth of interviewing the firms. The subcommittee would make a recommendation back to the school building committee for the selection of a CM firm ultimately. Next. So we really think it's important that we have somebody representing the school district as part of this, as well as someone within the city that has CM at risk experience. And so for now, we've recommended Deb and Mike, but we also need to have someone else from the school building committee that again would have familiarity with construction process. I don't know if someone would like to make a recommendation or change any of the ones that we've recommended or nominate someone for the 3rd position from the SBC.
I can nominate myself, but I see Rick also phases in, but it's really I don't know how to proceed beyond that, but it's really I'm certainly available as well.
Thank you, Flora. And I was going to also ask if Rich, is this something you'd be interested in, Marlon?
Yes, that's why I put my hand up. So, I mean, I don't have to be officially on the, listen, I don't need to officially be on the committee, but I like to be involved in the process. So if it's only 5, just loop me into everything. I would be happy to participate.
So, I mean, we can have more. It's just easier when you only have a voting, like 5 voting members. But certainly anybody from the SBC could be involved in any part of the process.
Just quick question. So does that mean if Flory is the appointed one that Rich could be at every meeting, even though he doesn't have a voting, or at every as the subcommittee does their work, that Rich could be available through all of that without having a voting position? Is that something
Yes.
we appropriate? Okay.
We could do that, yes.
So I would be happy to be on it, or just to be able to attend all the meetings would be great.
And I don't know if Deb wants to be on it, or typically sometimes the principal of the school, since he will have contact pretty regularly with the CM. You know.
I'm
these
more
would
than happy to be on it. That's entirely up to you.
I do tend to agree that Kevin is going to be the one who's going to have the most contact with this person because they'll be on site regularly. It could be a similar situation that Kevin can be on the committee and I will, attend.
That's good. We can certainly, I think that would work. I mean, we can send out the statement of qualifications to anybody who wants to receive them. We can put a box that drop box that everybody can go in and access any of the statements of qualifications and review them. We will be bringing back the evaluations for every phase back to the SBC for review. So we can make this an open process is basically what I'm trying to say. So do you want to make Kevin the actual voting representative with Deb attending as available?
Yes.
Okay. Is everybody comfortable with Mike? Has a lot of experience with CM at risk in the city.
Yes.
Yes.
And then in terms of the third member, do we want to appoint one person? And again, like I said, have Rich or Flory attend as well. How do we want to handle that?
I mean, so you're saying you're just worried about an even number, Lynn? Is that what you were saying?
Well, typically you want three, one more person from the city or district side than you would have you're required to have an OPM representative and an architect representative. So typically it's 3 from the city and then one OPM and 1 architect.
So it's
So we're
limited to
just
5
looking
is what
for a
you're saying?
name to put in here as the actual
But so you're saying it's
subcommittee.
limited to 5 people, is that what you're saying, Lynn?
Typically, that's the easiest way to do it. We could do more, but it seems the process seems to flow a lot easier with a more limited number. But again, like I said, anybody can sit in on the whole process if they want. Because there's evaluation spreadsheets that have to be filled out and everything else. So, managing the number of people is good. I mean, we would take feedback from anybody that sits in on the process as well, but compiling, because we have to compile these and provide them as record. It's easier to do with a more limited number. But if you want to appoint more, we can certainly entertain that as well.
Just a question, seems like maybe we're looking at 7. I get the 5 makes sense, Lynn.
Yes.
But I think the 2 other people that want, I'm not advocating either way, but if you think that it's really problematic to have 7, but I think that there's all the people we're talking about, I think would be good members of that committee. So I'm not advocating for anything more than 5, but if 7 would be not that problematic, maybe that's something we'd take a look at, but that's just my suggestion.
I'm fine with whatever the will of the SBC is on that.
And
Go ahead, Mayor. I was gonna just say, obviously, we want this to work as smoothly as possible, but I think we have a good group of people here that can really contribute. That's my only thought on this, but Mayor, I'll let you weigh in.
well, I was just gonna ask to clarify, but when you can say this, the 7, it would be those 5 plus Kevin. Well, it'd be the 4 on the page and then Kevin and then Floria and Rich Marlin to get the 7.
I thought we were switching out Deb for Kevin and Deb would just be a participant when she was available.
Superintendent, do you have a preference there?
I mean, again, I think, Kevin Ritterhouse being the principal is going to really be directly connected to this person. So he needs, I feel like he needs to be comfortable with who he's going to work directly with. I certainly will attend and give my, views and opinions. Do I feel like I have to be a voting member? No, but I will be if that's what the committee would prefer.
So why don't we do 6 then?
Okay,
Are people okay with that? We're gonna do a vote in a minute, but now's the chance to speak up if you are not okay with it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Could someone make a motion, please, for Superintendent Ruggiero, Mike Donovan, Lynn Stapleton, Jean Raymond, Flora McCool, and Rich Marlin to be appointed to the CMR selection subcommittee?
I think,
You forgot one, Ritterhouse.
And Kevin Ritterhouse, thank you.
I'll
Yep.
make that motion on the
and
mayor's suggestion.
okay, was it Flory too?
Yep,
Yeah, okay.
it's
I'll
6.
second that.
Rich, Flory, Kevin, Mike, Lynn, Jean.
Okay,
Any second?
Second that. Second.
Roll call, please.
okay, hold on 1 second. Mayor Nicholson,
Yes.
Brian Castellanos,
Yes.
Deb Ruggiero,
Yes,
Dr. Alvarez, Diane Charkudis, Flory Makua,
Yes.
Jessica Gerardo, Jim Ridley,
Yes.
John Ford, Joe Smart,
Yes.
Karen Miller, Kevin Ritterhouse,
Yes.
Lauren Drago,
Yes.
Lorraine Gately,
Yes.
Michael Bertino, Michael Donovan,
Yes.
Molly Cohen,
Yes.
Peter Koulikides,
Yes.
Rich Marlin,
Yes.
Rick Starboard,
Yes.
Tom Mannion, Mayor McGee,
Yes.
Wayne Lozey. Okay, that's it. All right, can I just say one more time? It's Mike Donovan, Deb Ruggiero, Kevin Ritterhouse,
No, it's not Deb.
Deb as an alternate or on the side. Rich Marlin and Flory Makua.
It's you and Jean,
Yeah,
Mike Donovan, Kevin Ritterhouse, Flory, and Rich.
okay. Just wanted to be clear. That's
Mhm.
okay. Next. So this is the schedule. This first phase that we're in is the request for qualifications. We did advertise in the Lynn item on April 10th, and statements of qualifications are due on May 4th. At that time, we'll submit the qualification packages to everyone that's on the CM selection subcommittee. And then we will schedule a date. Right now, we have it tentatively for May 11th. We'll send out the evaluation forms for each of the members to fill out, and we will meet to discuss and decide on the pre-qualified firms to move to the next phase. The next phase is the request for proposals phase. We intend to notify CMs of their pre-qualification on May 12th. And we will have a pre-proposal conference at the school on May 16th. And we expect that the requests, the proposals are due on May 26th. We will ask or June 1st, I'm sorry. And we will ask that the CMs reserve June 5th and 6th for dates for interviews. And we will meet to review the proposals prior to those interviews. And then we'll have 2 days worth of interviews for the CMs. The CM selection subcommittee will make a recommendation back to the school building committee to vote on the final award to the CM. So that's in a nutshell, it's the process. Any questions? We'll provide information out to the ones that were nominated as the selection committee members in the next day or two, so you'll have everything in advance. Next. So we've already made the vote, and I'll turn it over to Jean to review the facilities assessment subcommittee presentation.
Great. Thank you, Lynn. So as Lynn said, there's we have to make a presentation to a subcommittee of the MSBA board because the MSBA board needs to approve your preferred alternative and the direction that you're heading before we go into schematic design. So they ask that you provide them with a 15 slide, which is kind of arbitrary, but I'm sure they don't want the thing to go on for hours and hours. An overview of the process that you went through and the highlights of where what you want to construct. So we used to do this slide deck after the submission that we're going to make this Thursday of this preferred schematic report, but they recently requested that we submit it as part of the report, and then that gives the staff some time to review it, and sometimes they'll ask for clarifications or additional information before it goes to this facilities assessment subcommittee. So what I wanted to run through was the draft, because we're not submitting the final one until Thursday, of the slide deck, and I guess see if it makes sense to you, or if you have any suggestions or other items that you might want to highlight. I've put a date here of May 17th. They've asked us to hold 2 dates, the 17th and I believe the 24th. And at some point, I'm sure Lynn will receive confirmation of when we're doing this. And Lynn, correct me if I'm wrong, but typically they ask for representatives, from the school department to talk about the educational plan. They obviously the OPM and the architect, and then a representative from the city, right, to talk about finances.
Yes.
So I'm sure that can all be arranged, but like I say, the earliest would be this May 17th date, which is, it's kind of funny. It's only 3 weeks away. I keep thinking we're not into spring yet, but we are. So this is the cover, it'd be up on the screen. They ask that you give an overview of the district. And so we try to keep it very simple. We have a city map. The district is 27 schools. And Deb, you can certainly correct me, but I just went on the DESI website. And as of October 2022, which is the latest information, you were serving 15,433 students in pre-K 12. There's one early childhood center, 18, I'm calling them neighborhood elementary schools. So again, whether people want to comment tonight or send suggestions via email, that's fine. What we're focused on are the middle schools, and we've circled them here. As of October 22, Pickering had 522 students. That's the project in front of them, and it's approved for 1,100 pupils. The Breed, as of last fall, had 1,221, and Thurgood Marshall had 1,215. So again, Deb or anyone, we're happy to update those numbers, assuming they may have changed. So we wanted to just highlight that, and it gives us an opportunity to tell the committee that redistricting is going to occur, and whether kids from Thurgood Marshall or Breed end up coming up into Pickering, that's part of the project. We will tell them that there's 2 high schools, 1 Voc Tech, 1 alternative middle high, and I hadn't heard about it, but it was on the DESI website, a collegiate academy. I guess that's a program you're running. But anyway, so Deb, or anyone.
If you send me the PowerPoint, I can update that information.
Okay, great. And we just have kind of, the elementary schools tagged in yellow, the high schools in blue, and we've circled the middle schools again, knowing that that's the focus of the project. So they ask that you start with an overview, whether Deb does that or we do it, or Lynn Stapleton does it. We'll figure that out. And then they ask for kind of an overview of the educational visioning and the educational program, what the district wants to accomplish with this. So Deb has taken a real first pass at how she might organize talking about this. And we don't have to go through the whole thing, but typically there's 2 or 3 slides, and the district leadership is talking about the educational plan. And sometimes they're interested in hearing about the special education as kind of a subset of that. Then they want to, we all know this site so well, but they don't. So they ask for an overview of the site. And in this case, we're going to introduce them to the site, point out that the Pickering and Sisson Elementary are sharing, one connected building, that, the addition renovation option they're going to see is going to require takings of private property, including a church. That there's a city baseball stadium to the south, and that's really sacrosanct also. So the areas that we have concentrated on as far as looking at a new building are Magnolia Playground and the playground at Sisson. And we'll go through, the site attributes. This is a nice attribute. You have open space, you have views to Flax Pond. You really, honestly, kind of have limited abutters because you have the housing authority, yes, but really a lot of it is kind of the school, the Magnolia Avenue. And, kind of the focus of the abutters is up in this area. Some of the constraints are that it's a dense site. This is parkland associate, it's going to require some legislative action to get it under the control of the school committee. That's underway. We'll tell them about that. We'll tell them about the MWRA water line. And we'll tell them that there used to be a connection between Flax Pond and Sluice Pond, and that this was filled at one point. So we've discovered that there's a number of issues with the soils, and that it also is going to require very expensive foundations. And then we'll point out that this area here is naturally occurring soils with less fill. And those are kind of the two choices for areas that we could build. We'll also tell them about the floodplain issues. We have a slide about that. And then as far as opportunities on this site, it's really a very nice site. As far as the tracking the sun, everything here is going to have a nice southern exposure. There is room to construct a building because you have this wide open space here. It's not like, we have to take over the ball field or, something else. We do have space so that you can run the existing schools while you're staging and constructing the new building. And then also I mentioned that, the soils up in this area, whether you build here or not, if we do some excavation, they are reusable because they're naturally occurring soils. I touched on this before, but this is an old topo USGS map. And we have, this is really the site. This is Broadway right here. I'm not sure that if that's Canomo or Canomo was built later, but you can see that Flax Pond had a different name and it extended into this area, which is currently Magnolia Playground, and that there was a connection between the two. We'll tell them about the MWRA water line that's in purple. We'll tell them about the storm sewer that is currently there, 48 inches. And then we'll tell them about all the site exploration we did and that we found fill going down 20 or 30 feet. Below that was peat, which you cannot build on top of. It's very, very soft, and that we would have to go down 160 feet with piles. So the options we did look at in this area are going to require $20 to $30 million just to get the foundations in the ground. On top of that, the current floodplain is right here, according to FEMA. And, this is Magnolia Park. So, there was a little bit here, but actually during this phase in February, FEMA issued this for public comment, which is really taking the whole of Magnolia Playground and making it a floodplain. So, we ended up finding out that there are a lot of constraints between the soils, the utilities, and the floodplain on this Magnolia Playground. The committee did, as is required by MSBA, examine a number of options for housing the 1,100 pupils. And the first one was to put an addition renovation onto the existing building. And as I noted earlier, the only place that could go is by taking private property to the west of the school and it's, building a big addition out on Broadway. This is the most expensive, it's the longest duration, and it's the most disruptive of all the options we took a look at, and the committee did not think that was the way to go. We looked at two options on Magnolia Playground. The first was having the entire school There'll be a 4-story school, very similar to Thurgood Marshall, with a 4-story academic wing and a 2-story community wing. It would take up most of Magnolia Playground between the school and the parking and paving. And we, as I mentioned, the soils, the floodplain, everything about this was becoming very expensive. So the committee asked us to look at maybe making the footprint smaller. So we ended up looking at bridging over and separating the 4-story academic wing from the 2-story community wing. We discovered that even though we might save some money on foundations here with a smaller footprint, we were spending that money on a bridge. And then also because it wasn't one compact building, we ended up with a little more square footage. So these two options were both fairly almost the same expense, and both, $30 million more than the last option, which happens to be the preferred option of the committee. Again, you guys know all this, but we looked at building on the existing hill. Most of this building is on the Sisson property, but part of it is on Magnolia. It's a 5-story building built into the hillside. What it allows us to do is maintain open space. We have enough room to accommodate the parking for the new Pickering, the old Pickering, which probably will end up being used for elementary space of some sort, whether it's swing space or permanent expansion space for the elementary program, and then also enough parking for the existing Sisson. Since we're building on the Sisson playground, the first phase of the project would be replacing that playground down at Magnolia Field. But as I say, this is on conventional spread footings, much less expensive. We have the playground for Sisson, we have all the parking, and we still can maintain some open space for playfield. We've avoided the MWRA line. We're able to raise the parking and paving areas so that we have flood storage capacity underneath. In case this does get designated as a floodplain, this site plan and site organization works. And this is a conceptual view of how we might treat it. We know that we have some abutters, and we want to leave planting areas for evergreens. We want to treat the building with light colored panels, as the city did at Thurgood Marshall. And we feel very confident about this fitting into the neighborhood and being a good neighbor. We've looked at a number of vehicular circulation plans, and this is working out very well from that standpoint as well. If the new Pickering is built here into the hillside, the second story of this would be approximately at the grade of the existing Pickering playground. The city, they don't have a lot of buses, but they do provide transportation for special needs students. And that circulation can occur on the north side of the building. On the south side, we have a one-way loop, so that we can have everyone coming in one entrance and everyone coming out another entrance. Other options we looked at, we had entrance and exit at the same curb cut, and it would lead to a lot of congestion and wasn't as safe. We don't have any of the drop off or pickup going through the parking lots. And we do have it going through the playground, but that would be controlled after drop off and before pickup with gates. And during the school day, there would be safe pedestrian access from either the new Pickering or from the sisson, and the sisson is the one that will use it for recess every day, to the hardscape play area and even the play fields. And then we'll go through the plan organization. We have the ground floor is really kind of the community wing. We have the 2-story cafeteria with facing south, overlooking the play fields and Flax Pond, which is appropriate. We have the 2-sided stage, which serves the gym and the cafeteria, where we've put the music labs or classrooms down on this level so that they can make use for the stage. The stage will be outfitted with a ramp, so it could serve as a third music teaching space if that's applicable. Anything that's built into the hillside, the custodial, the black box theater, locker rooms, and the 2-story high gym, or even the CAF, do not need natural light. The gym would have natural light because only the first story of it is in the hillside, so it would be able to have exterior windows. And the same thing with the cafeteria. Everything on the south side here is a walkout, and it goes out to the entry drive. And on the second floor, the life skills suite, the coach classrooms. One of the lessons learned from Thurgood Marshall was that they should be on an entrance, grade level entrance. And so, as I mentioned, the bus and transportation would be on the north side here, and they would be able to come right into this level. We also have the wood shop and associated drafting because deliveries of bulk materials would be a lot easier if they could come in from the north side. The third floor is where we start to get into the cluster, the classroom neighborhoods, that each cluster has about 100, little over 100 students in it. It would have a science lab, social studies, English and math, and an extended learning space, which is really, this will probably be opened up to both corridors, and it'll also, they stack. So we'll be able to bring natural light down from skylights. So even though it's interior space, they'll be very bright and nice spaces. We also, here we have the media center, which is another one of the big community spaces. So what we want to do is we want to make sure all the students and staff, you know, they're in the cafeteria every day, they're in the media center often. We want to make sure everyone can enjoy that view out to Flax Pond. And we've combined it with kind of the audio visual TV suite. And we actually put the movement studios up on this level because the idea on the movement studios was that we may be fitting them out so that they're very multi-purpose. You know, we talked about maybe having storage for maker activities. This would be a folding partition. And the media center, the movement space would all have access out onto this area here, which would be kind of protected outside area for learning activities. And it also would have a skylight. I don't know how large it'll be, but we want to make sure that we're bringing natural light down into the main lobby from above. And the upper 2 floors, we have the other career pathway labs, cooking, sewing, art, and we have other clusters of classroom neighborhoods. We also, all these spaces that are in green are special ed spaces. So we want to make sure that we're spreading them on all the floors and kind of spreading them throughout the plan. And they're not all just in one wing or one plan. So I think we've been very successful at doing that as well. This has not been flushed out yet, and I'm going to apologize, but we had a very, very busy last week and weekend putting together that 1,700-page submission. But anyway, we'll give them an overview of any variances in the various categories between their guidelines and the project that's being proposed. And I think we've been pretty careful about trying to minimize space that's not reimbursable and maximize space that is. But again, this is from another project, but it's an example of what we'll be submitting to them. And then finally, we'll touch base on how your school committee has held a number of meetings and public hearings. And then they do ask that you do a summary of the options that we just showed them and show the project costs, which Lynn Stapleton put this together on an
So,
MS.
Yeah,
template.
so Jean, can I make a comment? I know this is listed as 1, 2, 3. Should we be naming it what we've presented in all of our work? The 5A, B, 6A, B, and 7?
I think we should. Steve and I, we didn't know if this was an MSBA thing you had to follow, Lynn, so we were just gonna put the option numbers in.
Right, I think we
see,
should
but we
use the
can just-
option ones that we've addressed throughout I thought I had changed that to the,
No problem. So, you know, where you landed, right, is, like I say, it's $30 million cheaper than building on Magnolia. It's, you know, even more, you know, cost effective than doing the ad reno. And and, you know, as you all know, and you voted, it has a whole bunch of technical and kind of educational benefits and neighborhood benefits to it. So I think that's the last slide that we end up showing them. Right, so. I know I blabbed and just cruised through it. I'm happy to hear anyone that might have any suggestions.
Counselor Starbird.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question. With the space that we're losing in the park to the parking lot and driveways, are we
Yes.
going to have to replace that parkland someplace else?
Yes, and we can definitely make a point of that. The I don't know what it is, like a working group has been all over that for the past 2 or 3 months. And as I understand it, there's some land on Parkland Avenue where the dog park is, and there's a DPW shed that the city would be, again, I don't want to get ahead of anyone in the city, but you know, would be swapping this parkland for that parkland.
Okay, thank you.
Jean,
Yes,
could we go 2 stories, like go to the second and third story? I just want to look at something and ask you a quick question.
yeah, no problem. Actually, I have to find it, don't I? Let's see. That's the
Okay.
first and second.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, these are inside rooms? Like, are they gonna have light or,
Yes. Remember that big skylight I showed
yes?
right here? And
Mhm.
again, I don't know if it probably won't end up being a big gigantic skylight, but that triangle is kind of in this area right here,
Okay,
Lorraine. And
yeah,
I don't know that the opening in the floor is going to be this big, but the idea is to have the skylight on the roof of this floor, have a big floor opening and have the light, you know, just flooding down into that lobby. So the music rooms, the special ed, that's conference rooms, and it's the special ed director, I believe. The guidance, this 5th major classroom, they would all have, I'm gonna say glass walls, but they'd have a lot of windows looking into this skylit lobby.
could you go to the 3rd, 4th floor too?
Yeah, that's the 3rd. And then the,
Okay, so where the L's, that row there, I can't point it to, like it says L's, that's an inside room also?
oh, these?
Yes, yeah,
No, this is So these are the,
No, above this, like you have your skylight and then above the skylight, you'll have an English, social studies and math, and then you'll have the center. Like, I just want to know if those are inside rooms, and if they're inside rooms, then they need to be well circulated, have a lot of good air quality moving through them. If there's no windows to open for teachers to be able to, get fresh air.
absolutely.
Because we had that problem at Breed, and I don't want to have that problem occurring here.
Yeah, that you will, I will promise you, you will not have any air quality problems in this building. But what I did want to say, Lorraine, the third, fourth, and fifth floors all have outside windows. It's, so we have this skylight, but that serves those spaces on the second and the first. And we were pretty careful to, like the music. I know the teacher is there every day, but the students aren't. We were very conscious about trying to make sure that, where the students spend most of their day, that they have windows to the outside, they have views. And I don't mean to downplay like how nice this space is going to be.
No, I understand
Yeah.
like on the first and second floor, but my concern was when we went up to third, fourth, and fifth floor, that inside, those inside rooms, because students may be able to walk in and out, but a teacher will be there all day, and most teachers get there early and leave late.
Right.
So I just want to make sure there's good quality air, that if it will be fine.
It really will be lovely. It will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know, does anyone else have any questions or suggestions? If you do think of anything, again, Lynn Stapleton is not submitting this until Thursday. So we have a couple days to adjust things if anyone has any ideas. So the next thing, and I think Lynn, the committee needs to take a vote to submit this preferred schematic report, PSR submission.
So what we included here was just the table of contents of the submission. And out of the nearly 1,700 pages, I don't expect everyone to read everything, but if you concentrated on the first 75 pages, that is the content. Everything after that is supporting the overview that is provided on those 75 pages. And as I said, majority, nearly 1,600 of the pages are, supporting documentation for the conclusions that we came to in the PSR, and that was the selection of option 7. Does anybody have any questions on the PSR itself? And as Jean said, if you don't have any questions tonight, we certainly have time between now and Thursday. If you want to send us any questions, we can respond and incorporate them.
So you need a motion to accept?
Yes.
So how do we do this? So people are going to make suggestions or do the motion pending any additions or subtractions, or do we just do a motion and you're okay to do that?
You can make a motion to approve contingent upon any revisions between,
All right, I make that motion. Motion to accept pending any contingencies that come up between now and Thursday.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Mayor Nicholson,
Yes.
Brian Castellanos,
Yes.
Deborah Girio,
Yes.
Dr. Alvarez,
Yes.
Diana Chakoudas, Flory Makua,
Yes.
Jessica Gerardo, Jim Ridley,
Yes.
John Ford, Joe Smart,
Yes.
Karen Miller, Kevin Ritterhouse,
Yes.
Lauren Drago,
Yes.
Lorraine Gately,
yes,
Michael Bertino, Michael Donovan,
Yes.
Molly Cohen,
Yes.
Peter Koulikitis,
Yes.
Rich Marlin,
Yes.
Rick Staubard,
Yes.
Tom Mannion, Mayor McGee,
Yes.
Wayne Lozey. That's it. So just really quickly, we are going to make the submission of the PSR on April 27th, along with the copy of the Facilities Assessment Subcommittee presentation that you just all reviewed tonight. We'll be submitting that in anticipation of the MSBA Board of Directors approving the PSR and proceeding into schematic design on June 21st. We have set aside the following meetings to review progress of schematic design, and that's the July 12th and the July 26th meeting of the SBC. And then we will be targeting August 9th to review and approve cost of the total project budget. At that point, we have to submit a budget notification to MSBA 2 weeks in advance, and that is has to occur on August 16th. And then we will submit, we will be asking the SBC to approve submitting the schematic design on August 23rd with a submission date to MSBA no later than August 30th in order to meet their MSBA Board of Directors meeting for October 25th. There was some discussion about maybe some changes in the reimbursement percentage. So we will be paying close attention to MSBA. It could mean that we may extend that timeline in order to take advantage of any gained reimbursement that we can from MSBA. So we'll be keeping you up to date on that as we move forward. And just real quickly, this is all an attempt to make sure that we can get everything that needs to occur to get construction started in the spring of 2024 with completion of the school and by the 2026-2027 school year and the fall, opening in September of 2026. And that's all we have for tonight. Does anyone have any questions?
Before we wrap up, I just want to say another word about what you just mentioned, Lynn, in terms of the finances, because I just wanted to try to keep the school building committee up to date on this. As you alluded to, we've talked with this committee about the issue around the reimbursement percentage and what the issues that's creating for us in financing the project. And as you mentioned, Lynn, the MSBA expressed that there was a possibility that could change. It didn't sound like it was going to take us all the way there. So we're continuing to talk to our partners at the state level. I think I mentioned last time that the school committee had submitted a letter to the treasurer, which was helpful, and the city council did the same. We're working very closely with our state delegation, and a lot of the state officials have been very receptive to wanting to talk this through with us, because they recognize there's a real problem here with the way this is working out. But that it certainly is promising about the potential increase in the reimbursement. There's some issues with the timing, as Lynn alluded to there, and obviously our concern is that any need to wait on a decision there could impact the overall timing of the project. But just wanted to, keep the school building committee in the loop on that. And thank you again, all for all your work. I really appreciate everyone who was able to make the last meeting we did to give the community another chance to get updated and weigh in. The people that are there both in person and virtually. We really appreciate the commitment that you are all showing to help us deliver on our goal of being really transparent in this process, and also thank you to those who stepped up to help us with the CM at Risk Committee. That's going to be some great work, and we appreciate you sharing your time and expertise with us.
Okay, if that's it, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Hey.
Aye.
Hmm. Okay.